therapy. And so the reason, I'm doing this talk for several reasons. Come on in, Natalie. So one reason is because there's a lot of sort of misconceptions and misunderstandings about herbs out there. And so I want to clear that up, and I want to talk about how they work in the body. The second reason I'm doing this talk is because we have a culture that's so over-medicated, that's so that people are dying from fentanyl and opioids, and there's got to be another way to do things that work better and that are much safer. And so, you know, if you can heal a body with herbs that have all kinds of healing properties, why not do that instead of taking like opioids and just covering up your pain and then getting addicted? So those are the reasons we're going to talk about herbs tonight. And I use a lot of herbal therapy in my office. I really like them. I take them myself. So let's talk about some of the basic principles in herbs versus vitamins. First of all, we all know that the body requires nutrients to function. If your body's lacking nutrients, it cannot work right, okay? And you cannot replace those nutrients with pharmaceuticals. It doesn't work, okay? I mean, if vitamin C does so many things for the body, what pharmaceutical can you give the body that does all the things that vitamin C does? There aren't any, okay? Vitamins, minerals, fiber, and other nutrients, these are all found in herbs, okay? Herbal extracts are highly complex, intelligent mixtures of plant metabolites. Therapeutic responses will be heightened if nutrients are available for complete tissue healing. So with a lot of people, I'll give an herb and I'll give a supplement with different nutrients like vitamins and minerals, because vitamins tend to nourish the body, whereas herbs tend to increase function. So we base herbal therapy on a guy by the name of Samuel Thompson. It's called Thompsonian medicine. He was born in 1769, and he was a self-taught American herbalist and botanist, and best known as the founder of the alternative system of medicine known as Thompsonian medicine. So obviously back then, there weren't pharmaceutical companies, we didn't have what we have now. So people had to rely on plants and people who understood herbs to get better. And so he was sort of the founder of all of this. The basic premise of Thompsonian medicine is that optimal health arises from obeying natural laws, okay? So like when I adjust the spine, we're allowing the natural process of nerve energy to flow from the brain to the body and to heal the body. Well, it's the same way with herbal therapy. Disease states are due to an obstruction or lack of vital energy, inability of the body to heal itself. Presence of symptoms are due to the effect of the disease, not the disease itself. Only options for cure: remove the obstructions, restore vital energy. Okay, sounds an awful lot like chiropractic, actually. Healing can only occur when using substances which are in harmony with natural laws and that impose vital energy, that give energy to the body. So when we look, and I'm not up here saying that I'm totally opposed to pharmaceuticals, but does anybody know how many people die from just properly prescribed pharmaceuticals every year? Anybody know that figure? It's over 100,000, okay? And so how many people die from herbs? I don't know of anybody. I've never heard of it. You know, I mean, it could happen, but I haven't heard of it, you know? So signs of a cure: relaxation, contraction, stimulation, soothing, nourishing, neutralization. So modern day functional medicine, and I do a talk on functional medicine, so this is a little bit of a review. We seek to address the underlying cause of disease. We use systems-orientated approach. So, you know, if one of your endocrine organs is not functioning well, you think it's possible that you might have another endocrine organ that's not functioning well. Yeah, so we look at the entire endocrine system. It's patient-centered rather than disease-centered. Looks at the whole person rather than an isolated set of symptoms. Includes a comprehensive history, which is really, really important, and evaluates genetic, environmental, and lifestyle factors as key factors. So, with functional herbal therapy, we combine Thompsonian medicine with a functional medicine approach, or modern functional medicine approach. We don't look at disease, but rather the symptoms of disease. So I tell my functional medicine patients, I don't treat disease or symptoms. I look at what is the underlying cause of the problem causing the symptoms. Sometimes that can be difficult to find. Herbal therapy is multifaceted because herbal actions can cover a lot of different things. So using 1 or 2 herbs, you might be able to cover 5 different issues in the body. Herbal therapy provides overarching guidance for whole body support, and we use a combination of 12 core strategic targets. We'll go over those in a minute. And we place an emphasis on supporting the affected tissues. So, you know, if your thyroid is a problem, we support the thyroid. If your adrenals are a problem, we support the adrenal glands. If it's a liver, we give liver support. So here's the 12 core strategies. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff here, and I'm not going to go over those in detail. This is all the things that we look at. At least we try and fix these things. But I'm going to talk about lowering danger signals and what are danger signals. So danger signals are metabolic responses that protect the cell from harm. They primarily have to do with mitochondria. They're triggered when your body cannot maintain what's called homeostasis. And they're involved in any chemical, physical, biological, or microbial threats. And the actions are usually initiated by the mitochondria to try and protect the body. Now, what do the mitochondria do? Anybody know? What do they do?
They're the powerhouses of the cell.
That's right. They produce energy. So if your body can't produce energy, can it heal?
No.
Cannot heal. You have to have energy to heal. So when I shine a laser on tissue in the body, that immediately affects mitochondria. It causes the mitochondria to function immediately better and raises the ability of the mitochondria to work better. That's what laser actually does. So that's why you get a healing response with laser. So when danger is encountered, there's a series of protected responses that are initiated by the cell, and it could be inflammation, high temperature, and certain defense molecules, including heat shock proteins, and I'm going to talk about this, sirtuins, protect the cell. Now, this is the first thing that happens when a body is stressed. So sirtuins are a family of proteins. They serve as metabolic sensors and help to regulate cellular homeostasis and cellular health. So they're like the Ring doorbell. You know, they kind of look out, and if there's a problem, they sense that. And they play an important role in increasing the amount of mitochondria in a cell, and circadian rhythms and stress response. So sirtuins, like for example, how do you make sirtuins work better? Well, polyphenols. So you get those in herbs. You get them in where else? You get polyphenols.
Vegetables.
Vegetables, where
Tea.
else? Green tea, yeah, green tea. Intermittent fasting, which I'm going to do an entire talk on that. Intermittent heat and cold exposure. So sitting in and far infrared sauna would increase this, but also working out in cold weather. exposing your body to cold actually makes your body stronger. Exercise. So if you combine some of these, like exercise and intermittent cold exposure, that would actually increase your sirtuins, your body's ability to push back on stressful situations. So sirtuins help the liver with fatty metabolism. They help cellular function. They help skeletal muscle. They help fatty acid insulin in skeletal muscle. Reduce brain inflammation. Help brain metabolism, and help promote fat and lipid metabolism in adipose tissue, which could mean like losing weight, helping your body metabolize fat better. So when danger persists, there's a mismatch between the biological resources and physiologic capacity in the body. So it can cause a lot of different types of dysregulation in the body. So it can alter whole body metabolism. What would be an example of altered whole body metabolism?
Can't lose weight.
Yeah, that would be one. How about anybody else? Elevated blood pressure. Okay, could be blood sugar that will not go down. Okay, it can cause changes, any dysregulation or changes in behavior, and then chronic disease. So let's talk about key herbs that are crucial in these responses that I use in my office. Okay, so one is Digest Forte, and some of you guys are probably on this. This is great for upper digestion. It promotes stomach acid secretion, gastric enzymes, bile secretion for the gallbladder, and it's good for eliminating gassiness, constipation, helps with gallstones, gallbladder issues, and irritable and inflammatory conditions of the stomach and the bowel. So we use this product a lot in the office, okay? Echinacea, and most of you probably heard of echinacea. Modulates the immune system, great immune system stimulator. Anytime you get an infection, echinacea is appropriate for that. It can help with skin disorders such as psoriasis, acne, and eczema. People that are in chemotherapy that weaken the body's defenses, echinacea is very good for bolstering that. And you can use it long term to maintain just a healthy immune system, anti-aging, and cancer preventative. Echinacea has been described by some herbalists as like the duct tape that holds the body together. And I use echinacea a lot in practice. I mean, we use it a lot when COVID was running rampant because it elevates the immune system. If I get sick, I take it. I can't say that I take echinacea on a regular basis. It would be good for me to do that. But if I don't feel good, I'll start taking it immediately because it's such a powerful immune system stimulator. Number 3, ashwagandha complex. How many of you have ever heard of ashwagandha? Yeah. So ashwagandha is really good for the person who's wired and tired. They're under a lot of stress, they're not sleeping well, but they're just, wired all the time. So it's very good for adrenal and nervous system exhaustion. It helps endurance and stamina, boosts energy, and it's for people that just constantly struggle to get through the day. Number 4, gymnema. Gymnema is the herb that I use for high blood sugar and insulin resistance. It works really, really well for that. It also is very good in weight loss. And it's one of the products that I use in this liquid herbal formula called Slim and Sexy. This is a really good weight loss formula, but this formula It uses a combination of herbs that it helps weight loss, reduces sweet cravings, a great diuretic, stimulates digestion. We have 3 different herbs in here, and they do a whole lot of different things to the body. Anti-diarrheal, good for asthma, anti-diabetic, and it's a very powerful antioxidant. It helps with liver and adrenal function as well. So gymnema is a key herb in that Slim and Sexy formula. Let's see. Oh, we have one more, ginkgo. Anybody ever use ginkgo for brain support? Yeah, very good for promote short-term memory. It's an herb for mental alertness and cognitive function. I use it for primarily brain effects on the brain, but it helps heart, eyes, and ears. It helps with dementia and early onset Alzheimer's, and it helps with tinnitus and vertigo. Okay, so it's typical of an herb that herbs do a lot of different things all at one time. So this formula here, we call this the elephant dart. Oh, this one. Oh, we don't have that one.
We don't have that.
We don't have it one yet. We'll have it pretty soon. The elephant dart sleep formula, which if you know of anybody that has problems just getting to sleep, we call this the elephant dart formula because it should put anybody to sleep. Okay, but it does a lot of other things as well, other than in terms of relaxation and that type of thing. Let's look at tribulus. That's another herb that I really like. It boosts male and female fertility and libido. So people that are losing their sex drive, tribulus is really good because it really helps modulate testosterone in the body. When I say modulate, if it's too high, it'll bring it down. If it's too low, it'll bring it up. It really good for menopause symptoms, like women that are having hot flashes. Tribulus works really well. Helps with male andropause, so as your testosterone starts to drop with age, tribulus will really help keep that up there. And this is a lot better solution than getting testosterone shots. Because testosterone shots, first of all, they don't always work. They can produce a lot of side effects that are not good in the body. Herb number 7 is called andrographis. Great for acute infections, prevention and treatment of colds, flus, upper respiratory infections, mucus congestion. So if you get sick, you start getting sick, andrographis and echinacea, great combination of herbs that do a whole lot of different things in the body. So let's talk about quality in herbs. Are all herbs created equal? No, they're not. Okay, so quality can relate to a lot of different things. So let's look at this. So here's 2 different cats. Are they the same? No. Dogs not the same. Fish aren't the same. So when you hear, if you go to a store and you get, like, they have 300 tablets of echinacea for $10. You really need to think real seriously about whether you want to throw your $10 away on that echinacea, okay? Because how a plant is harvested, where it's harvested, the time of year it's harvested, and the part of the plant that's used are really important in whether the herbs work, okay? So again, this is, where the plant grows in the world. Like, let's take tribulus, and we'll look at this again. Good tribulus only grows in Eastern Europe. If you don't get it like in Romania, Bulgaria, it's not going to work. It's the only place good tribulus will grow. Now, you can get tribulus from other parts of the world. You can get it in America. It just doesn't work. It's here. It doesn't have the phytochemistry that you need for that to work. And so what happens, if MetaHerb, which is the company that I use, they get a batch of tribulus, from that part of the world that like isn't good, they'll just discontinue the product until they get a high enough quality herb. And we've gone for a year without tribulus. And we've gone for long periods of time without other herbs that I really like, that I really use a lot. So what time of year it's harvested is really important. So phytochemicals in the herb are responsible for the functional activity of plants. The primary metabolites of the plant participate in the nutrition and metabolic processes inside the plant. They include enzymes and other proteins, lipids, which are fats, carbohydrates, and chlorophyll. Now, the constituents that make up the pharmacological properties of the plants are called secondary metabolites. And what do secondary metabolites do? They increase the survival prospects of the plant. So they protect the plant against insects and against disease and things like that. Those are the primary parts of the plant that have the metabolic properties that we like in the herbs. So, types of phytochemicals. The biggest ones are phenols. That's the largest group of secondary metabolites. So tannins, anthraquinones, flavonoids, coumarins, and then bitters. What are bitters for? Anybody know? It's in Digest Forte. Bitters help digestion. They're powerful digestion stimulants. So you know those bitters you can buy in the liquor store? You know, you get bitters. They actually help digestion, okay? Glycosides, and I won't go through all of these, but they have to be extracted from the plants to make a good product. So when an individual marker, whilst individual marker phytochemicals can be considered important for quality assessment of raw materials, it's the complexity of the phytochemicals and how they work together. So it's not just one thing. So key herbal quality issues. Number one is, where does the raw material come from? How is it processed? How is it tested? I mean, difference in testing methods can make a really big difference in whether you get a quality herb. The problem in global herbal processing right now is there's a lot of substitution, adulteration, and contamination. You have to get quality herbs. You have to have a company that really cares about this. So here's an article. This is out of Frontiers in Pharmacology. And they talk about, this whole article talks about heavy metal contamination in herbal medicines coming out of China. Okay? Most people don't know that. So a lot of the herbs that are manufactured and that are processed and manufactured in China have heavy metal contamination. Well, and look when this article was published, 2021. So you don't want that. Here's another issue with key categories. The wrong part of the wrong plant part with a species, within a species. So ashwagandha, you gotta have the root, but there's a lot of companies that will use the leaf because it's easier and it's way cheaper. The only part of ashwagandha that works is the root. You've got to have that. Korean ginseng, main root versus root hairs. So you've got to have the root, not the root hairs. So there's the root hairs right there. There's the root, okay? So it's a lot cheaper to harvest the root hairs and put those in than it is the root. So a lot of Korean ginseng doesn't work for that reason. Kava, peeled root versus root peelings. Cat's claw, this is from the Amazon, but there's this difference between what's called POA, which is pentacyclic alkaloid, versus TOA. well, you want a lot of this and not as much of this, but what happens is you can get cat's claw that doesn't have the right ratio, and it doesn't work. Wild yam versus Chinese yam. And an unrelated plant which can have a profound safety implications. So skullcap substituted with germander, which happens a lot, can produce toxicity in the liver. Okay, so there's a lot of that goes on. Here's a report, and this is for interview with Charles Dow, who's a regulatory and sourcing manager of Health Products Association in China. Now, here's what he said. In the past, the people making fake products were all professionals. They had a much deeper knowledge of the ingredients than the buyers. For example, they would use synthetic resveratrol to make grapeseed extract, or use full synthetic garlic oil to simulate a natural product. Well, it's still garlic, but there's a big difference between the two. At that time, nobody knew how these ingredients were made, and their certificates of analysis could be the same as those of true products. So now we have technologies, which is HPTLC, high performance thin layer chromatography, which can detect these fake products. Now listen to this. This is something I want you to listen to. But there is still room for fake products because of the low price. There's a very large, well-known U.S. contract manufacturer that still buys fake products from China. And it's not even a secret among Chinese distributors. Almost everyone knows it. I've met several buyers who, on one hand, are looking for the best products, but on the other hand, can't afford the price. Every time I've told them the cheaper ones may be fake because the price is unreasonable, but they still go for the cheaper option. So I'm just going to tell you now, and I'll just say it, my herbs are not cheap. The herbs I sell here, they're not cheap, but they work. They're good. They've been tested. So here's some other adulteration in the, saw palmetto can be adulterated with plant oils and fats from animal oils. We haven't even been able to get saw palmetto. We haven't been able to get it for a long time, which is too bad. Turmeric is so adulterated. There's so much fake turmeric out there that, just because something is yellow doesn't mean it's real turmeric, okay? So there's a lot of it out there. It could contain dyes, lead, all kinds of things. Ginkgo leaf, it's the poster or herb for the many ramifications of adulterations. There are rampant issues of dilution with foreign flavonoids from other plants. It's gone so far to difficult to obtain authentic ginkgo leaf extracts. So the list of this just goes on and on and on. There's so many things that can adulterate and make herbs not work, and even bad for you. And so you've got to be careful what you buy. Now, I buy MetaHerb. Here's an example: tribulus. So you need a chemical in tribulus called protodioscin. Okay, so this is MetaHerb. This is another company, and you can see that there's a lot of companies that sell tribulus, but they don't have that in it. You got to have it in it for it to work. Again, tribulus is grown in Bulgaria, Slovakia. The part of the plant is also very important. They use all of the above ground parts except the fruit. Well, if the fruit is used, it doesn't work very well. Echinacea, you need this ratio of these two chemicals. This is MetaHerb. This is another company. But look at these. Look at how little of those two chemicals those products have. Yet it's sold as echinacea. Okay, ginkgo, again, you have to have these two things in ginkgo. A lot of ginkgo contains ginkgolic acid. These are allergens, and poor quality extracts contain high levels of that. And so ginkgo is very adulterated. MetaHerb first published an improved test method to detect adulteration. They published this in the Journal of Phytomedicine in 2014 because they were just tired of it. Golden seal, this is actually an endangered plant species. It takes 5 years for golden seal to mature to where you can use it as an herb. So you can't, and so you should only buy it, and again, MetaHerb only buys it from people that cultivate it, because if you do it in the wild, it's considered endangered. So golden seal is commonly substituted or adulterated by other species that contain berberine, but do not contain hydrastine. So does anybody in here know what golden seal does? Nobody. Okay.
It's like no to say it like cures everything.
That's
and
more.
it tastes terrible.
Yeah, all of my herbs taste
Yes,
terrible.
they
They're all nasty.
Yes, and they tested that.
Every one of them tastes nasty. Okay, so golden seal is a trophorestorative for mucous membranes. So if you have dry eyes, mucus, golden seal would be good for that. If you're a woman, or you could be a man, but usually it's women, you have chronic urinary tract infections, golden seal, good for that. If you're a woman and you have bad vaginal discharge, golden seal, perfect herb for that. Okay, it works any part of the body that has mucous membranes. So with MetaHerb, you can be guaranteed that you're going to have powerful quality herbs. And like I said, MetaHerb is not inexpensive. We get our herbs from Australia. That's where they're processed. The Australian FDA tests all of MetaHerb's products, so you know that it has in it what it says it has in it, and they work. Now, I'm not saying all of the herbs out there are bad. I don't know. I just know that MetaHerb, that these herbs are the real deal, that they work. And like I said, if you see herbs, for really, really cheap, you probably aren't really getting the real deal. You got to be really careful about that. So, any questions about anything I've covered tonight?
What's the elephant sleeping? Is that going to be like a capsule?
No, it's liquid. It's liquid. It's a liquid herb. So you take like a teaspoon, probably before dinner and then before bed. Yeah, and it will definitely relax you.
Is that something you have in stock?
Well, we couldn't get part of the product. It was on back order, and so we're gonna get it tomorrow, and we'll have it in then. Yeah, and we're gonna do several other liquid herb. These are custom blends that you can only get in my office. We're gonna do one for ADHD. We're gonna do one for a specific one for hot flashes, and then one for cognitive function, for better brain function. So these are the two we started with. Anybody else, any questions? Yes?
On one of those products you talked about inflammation. I'm wondering about arthritis, if you've got some joints that are affected by arthritis and are apparently inflamed, if there's anything.
Turmeric, our turmeric forte is pretty good for inflammation. We have another herbal product called Bone Complex, which is really good for joints and keeping bone healthy. If you've got inflammation in the joints, I would look at things like, do you have some food intolerances that might be causing that? Are you eating something that's causing the joints to inflame? I would look at diet first. in that regard.
Okay.
Like the best anti-inflammatory product I have is turmeric. I mean, turmeric forte. Turmeric forte, our turmeric is hooked on to an herb called fenugreek, which gets into the cell a lot more efficiently. Turmeric's a very big molecule, has hard time being absorbed into the body. When you hook it up with another herb, then it will get into the body much faster. So that would be my first anti-inflammatory herb. But if your joints are swelling up, there's probably a gut issue and a food issue. And I would tend to want to look at that first. Anything else? Anybody?
How stable are they, Dr. Paul? Will they degrade over time on the shelf? Or?
Not very fast.
Okay.
Okay, that is another herbal quality issue. How fast do the herbs degrade? You have quality herbs, you know, and they're packaged right, they'll last a long time.
So the shelf life on MetaHerb is pretty substantial.
Good. It's really good.
Like vitamins.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would not have any problem for me taking a MetaHerb product that's like 3 years past its expiration date.
Wow.
Not any problem at all. None at all. I wouldn't sell it for you know, regular price for, you know, but I would take it and not even think twice about it. Yeah, they last a long time.
But they are labeled with an expiration date?
Oh yeah, and I honor that expiration date, but I'll take them. I take all my expired supplements because they're good for years after that. Those are just arbitrary numbers they put on there, and I think that's probably the same thing for pharmaceuticals as well. You know, the expiration dates are pretty arbitrary, so yeah, I don't have any problem with that at all. I mean, this was several years ago, they took a standard process product, I think it was Catalin, and it had been packaged in the 1940s, and they did a test on it, and it was 80% potent, you know, and you know, so I don't have any issues with standard process and their, you know, their expiration dates or anything like that. I won't, like I said, I won't sell a product, you know, well, especially for full price past an expiration date, but I don't have any problem taking them, you know, at all. Okay, anybody else have any questions? Okay, good. Thank you for coming tonight, and